Think of a wine that looks as pale and delicate as a Pinot Noir, but it hits your palate with gripping, powerful force of a heavyweight champion. I would bet that you are thinking of Nebbiolo. Welcome back to Our Glass of Wine. I am Jacqueline, and today we have another quick guide to learn about a grape variety. And specifically, we will be taking a closer look into the undisputed king of northwestern Italy, a grape that is famous for its extreme paradoxes. We are going to be looking at Nebbiolo, but in 5 minutes. Let's start with the name Nebbiolo. It's widely believed to be derived from the Italian word nebbia, which translates to fog, and it can be in reference to the thick autumn mists that will cloak the hills of Piedmont during harvest, or others yet believe it's due to the heavy powdery bloom called a pruina that will coat the ripe berries, making them look like they are fogged over. Although Nebbiolo is the official name, it will go by different synonyms depending on the area. Spanna in Alto Piemonte, Picotendro or Picotenner in Val d'Aosta and Alto Canavese, and of course Chiavanesca in Valtellina, among other names too. Out in the vineyard, Nebbiolo is a notoriously demanding and unforgiving variety, and it's very site sensitive as well. It's one of the first grape varieties to go through bud break in the spring, but one of the last to be harvested in the fall. Often will not really be harvested until mid or late October for grapes that are destined for the highest quality wines. Because of this incredibly long growing season, it is exposed to everything, from spring frost to summer hail to heavy autumn rains. To get it to ripen perfectly, wine growers have to plant it on the absolute best, well-exposed south-facing slopes. They're called sori in the local dialect here. So, what does this demanding grape actually taste like? Well, Nebbiolo is famous for its paradoxical sensory profile. Visually, it will produce a lightly colored wine. It's usually a pale ruby that will fade into a beautiful brick and garnet color as it ages. On the palate, however, Nebbiolo is powerful. It delivers grippy structure with high tannins and a bright, high acidity. Its classic aromatic profile is famously summarized as tar and roses. When it's young, a good Nebbiolo will burst with the aromas of rose petals, violets, and red cherries. But Nebbiolo is built to age. It often can improve for 10 or 30 years, and over time, those aromas will evolve into incredibly complex layers of truffles, leather, tobacco, and dried earth, along with those amazing fruit flavors. So where do we find Nebbiolo? Well, unlike international varieties like Cabernet Sauvignon or Chardonnay, Nebbiolo just doesn't travel well. It's incredibly sensitive to its terroir, so while there are small plantings globally, specifically in California, Mexico, Argentina, and Australia, its true home remains in the northwestern part of Italy. Nebbiolo will cover around 5,500 to 6,000 hectares overall in Italy, with roughly 80% of those plantings being in Piedmont itself, and the most of the remainder of it in Lombardia and the Valle d'Aosta. More specifically, the main areas of northwestern Italy where we will find Nebbiolo thriving are going to be the Langhe. And this is where Nebbiolo's most famous home in Piedmont really is. Here, we're going to see it as the sole grape variety that is used to make the world-renowned, long-lived and aging DOCG wines like Barolo and Barbaresco. The Roero, which is just north across the Tannaro River from the Langhe, but the sandy soils of the Roero region will actually produce a Nebbiolo that is typically a little bit more perfumed, more red-fruited, and it's going to have slightly softer, sandier tannins. And in Alto Piemonte, when we head further north towards the Alps, Nebbiolo will be called Spanna. Here, the soil is pretty acidic and volcanic, so the wines are going to be more taut, more linear, and more mineral-driven. Valtellina. Over the neighboring region in Lombardia, it's going to be grown on steep, rocky alpine terraces, and the grape will go by the name Chiavanesca. And in the Valle d'Aosta, in this tiny mountainous region, Nebbiolo will be called Picotendro, where it produces lighter bodied but still well-structured alpine reds. And because of that intense combination of high acidity and firm tannins, Nebbiolo is actually a great match for food pairing. It goes well with rich, fatty, and protein-heavy dishes that can help to balance out its structure. Traditional dishes from Piedmont are actually perfect in this regard. What a surprise. We should think of brasato al Barolo, or braised beef in Barolo wine, or rich meat ragouts for pasta sauces. Really anything that is featuring earthy mushrooms or the region's famous white truffle goes great. The fat and protein in the food will help to soften the wine's tannins, letting all of those gorgeous floral and cherry flavors shine through. And that was our 5-minute guide to the noble Nebbiolo. Have you tried a Nebbiolo wine before? Or do you have a favorite Barolo or Barbaresco? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like below and be sure to subscribe to Our Glass of Wine so you never miss out on our wine education content. I am going to be leaving you with this video right here that we will be comparing in depth two more famous wines made with the Nebbiolo grape, Barolo and Barbaresco. I will see you in that video. Cheers!